Hello and welcome to the Salt City Gamescast. This is episode 153. We are back.
Yeah.
Jared Allen sitting across from me. My name's Nick Naylor. I got to remember how to do this whole thing. It's been a while.
It's been longer than I would have expected. Well, that's not true. I kind of expected it to take this long for us to get back on the horse. It just feels like a long time that we've been gone. Hi everyone.
We had three last calls planned with Dan, and then we did have an extra week because the schedule was just a little tough because my daughter had a birthday at a party, and then it's like, let's just push it. So that's what we did. So if you don't know, in the meantime, I became a dad again. Well, so I have a son, and
yes,
it all went well, so that's good. We're super happy about that. But a couple things I want to talk about. One, I don't know how much you know about babies.
When they Next to nothing.
Okay, got it. All right. Well, the umbilical cord one. First off, I already knew this because this is my second. It's white and it's very surprising.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but like when you think of maybe I'm just thinking like whenever I think of organs, it's just red, right?
Sure.
And it's just not. And it comes out and it's very white. It's very surprising.
Okay.
But that's not the story. The story is that they cut the umbilical cord. There's kind of this gross thing.
You didn't do it?
No, I did.
Okay.
I did on both.
Gotcha.
With some lame scissors, and like it seems like someone should make better scissors.
Yeah.
Because it's like the scissors, or maybe they do it so you feel like you're really doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like it should just be
and it's like a couple cuts.
It's like I should have brought my stone to sharpen this thing a little before.
Gross, dude.
It's even the doctor's like, remember, it takes a while. I'm like, yeah, I know. And also like, it's a very small, like they don't want to give me like a shear, but like a shear would take care of this.
Can I get a pocket knife or something?
Like something like a multi-tool. Like what do we do?
I'll hold one end and keep it fucking taut and just slice my way through it.
I'd rather have what the Swiss would give me. Like it's one of those things that'd be fine. Like I don't know. Like but anyway, so like anyway, it's just very weird that they don't give you a good tool because it seems like they have a lot of good tools on there. The baby comes home and then they have like too much belly button. It's a umbilical cord that's still there. It's kind of like doubled over and it falls off after a week.
Gross.
It just turns black and you're like, I wonder if it'll fall off today.
Did you guys keep it?
And it doesn't. What would be the only logical thing that would happen to the umbilical cord?
You lost it or the dogs ate it.
Dave ate the umbilical cord.
Oh, dude.
So
that's so gross.
It is gross. So we don't save them. We're not like putting it in a book next to a dried flower or anything.
Dried flower.
But like it is. Of course Dave ate it, right? Of course the dog ate it. He eats everything else.
Did you watch it happen? Like it was just on there and then it fell off and he like was just conveniently nearby and got it.
That's the funny thing is that I wasn't here and it was just my wife and she was sending me texts and I wish I should have found these texts, but they were a while ago. But just to understand just like the nature of the household and like what takes priority during this time when you have a newborn and a 5-year-old. But she's texting me like literally, I picked up these groceries from Harmon's. The dryers, the stuff in the dryer didn't get dry. David, the umbilical cord. What would you like for dinner?
Kind of like
it was just like
over.
It was just like slotted in there, and because it was just like, look, a lot's going on, and the Dave story is not even like the number one on the thing. But that's fine. It's probably high in protein, so he's fine.
Yeah.
The other thing that I just want to kind of, it's really awkward when you have a kid and really forever, but like people really like to like talk about how great their kid is, right? Like immediately.
Sure.
And immediately I just feel like you should pump the brakes a little bit because like they're not doing anything. Like it's just a baby. He came to see. But fucking every baby I've ever met and my baby, people come over and they're just like, oh, look how strong his neck is. He's got a strong neck. He's got look how well he's holding his neck up. And I'm like, I was thinking about it and I was just like, 100% of the babies I've met, people are like, he's got a strong neck. And where are these weak ass baby necks, Jared? Like, where are these babies where you walk in and you're just like, look at that pussy ass neck on that kid. Like, he can't even hold his head up. Like, what? That's a weak kid. He can't.
Look at
no
you,
neck strength.
fucking
Like,
noodly ass
like,
neck.
Like, I'm pretty sure they all have strong necks. Like, they all have about the same strength of necks, but there's no compliments you can give a baby. They don't do anything. So they're just like, well, he looked to the left and then he immediately looked to the right like a drunk, and he seems like he's got a strong neck. There's like, what?
Fucking 2 days old. You can't even keep your neck up, you fucking schlub.
I don't know. Anyway, it's that times 100, because then it's just like all the family around you. They're just desperate to be like, I've never seen a baby so strong.
Right.
And like a weekend, my mom told the family that's like, he's the sweetest baby. He's sweeter than all the other nieces and nephews. And it's just like, what is the metric? What's the measuring metric that he's beat them? What they do to lose?
Are they even like capable of showing affection that
No,
young?
he can't even look at you yet. He can't focus on you.
He's
yet.
just like fucking in his own world.
Like they really can't see. Like it's very, very blurry for quite a while.
Right.
He's about to. Now he just looks like he's always on a trip. Like he can see the fan and he's like, oh, shit, a fan. But he's about to like focus on your face and be like, hey, I see you. Like,
Okay.
any day.
Good.
But we're 5 weeks in.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's just natural, right? Grandparents being grandparents or like being a fan of your offspring. I think it's just natural. People fucking do that. I think it'd be strange if someone was like, I just had this kid. He kind of sucks already. Like, I don't know if you should be a parent. That'd probably be me. I'd be like, this guy's really cut it in my gaming time. I don't know if I really am cut out for this.
We make comments, not like they're like, this kid is a throwaway, right? But I will absolutely go into work or be talking to my family, and I'm just like, yeah, it's a little unfortunate. I get off work at 4 and the baby pretty much sucks shit for the 4 hours I get home.
Sucks shit.
He's just super fussy. Like it's the worst time.
Right.
So it's like I get home and my wife's like, hey, here's a baby. He sucks. So it's like, and then for a few hours, he's just kind of like, walk me, bounce me on the yoga ball. And I can only do that for so long. My core hurts. So it's a whole deal. Yeah. But no, it's all, as far as this goes, I mean, obviously it's difficult, but it's gone as good as we can hope. So it's good. Things are looking up. Good. A little tired. We have some, had to make some espresso martinis because I was leading into this show like an hour ago. I was like, this is a problem. So I went and brewed some stuff and was like, I'm going to need some sort of pick me up because I'm a little worn out, but I'm feeling better already. Yeah,
I didn't think this through, but I met up with a mutual friend earlier today and like had a couple of beers and watched the Champions League final. And then went home and napped. And I was like, I need to pick me up. So I went and got an energy drink before this. And then you made me this. So my heart might start beating out of my chest here soon.
Luckily, it was only 1 ounce of like, it's not true espresso. It's from Mocha Pot. But
okay.
So right. I don't think you'll die.
Well, let's hope not. I'm pretty receptive or reactive, I should say, to caffeine.
Like too much?
Yeah. If I get too much, I get like sick and jittery. So
I don't puke on the table or anything.
I'll let you know.
Okay, great.
All right. Yeah. Here's a little aside. I was at this bar today with our buddy watching the game, and he went to the bathroom, and it was like 1 o'clock, and he came back to the bar, and he was like, dude, I don't know what's going on in the bathroom, but somebody's like having a bad fucking time. And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, somebody's just like vomiting violently. And I was like, it's 1 o'clock. And we went to like, it's a bar brewery technically, but it's not like, it wasn't popping off, you know? And
it's like a cool Applebee's, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it's like
for sure. And the guy comes out and clearly, like, he was walking straight, but
order more.
Clearly was like sick. Yeah. Like he was like burping as he's walking up, and we were just watching him, like talking about him. And he went and sat down with like this big group of people. And then like not 5 minutes later, he ran back to the bathroom. And we're both like, I feel like at the second time you puke, I'd probably be like, I'm going to excuse myself and go home, guys. Like,
it doesn't seem like it's an alcohol puke, but maybe, I mean, maybe they were getting,
I don't know. It was very weird and also hilarious.
For sure.
Yeah.
I was recently in a restaurant like that, like 2 weeks ago it was the Break downtown, which is, the place sucks, but we went there before like ballet, and I went in the bathroom did my thing. Was at the urinal, and the entire time I was there, there was only one other stall, and it was just groaning, like this guy was giving it like all everything he had, and I never saw him come out of there. And I just came out, and I was just like, fucking, you might need something in there, like
Jesus,
you
dude.
may need some coffee to loosen some stuff up or something.
Oh, it's like
It
scene
was
in Austin
awkward.
Powers where it's like,
Yeah.
I've got you here.
Who
Don't
does
blow
number
out
two
an
work for?
don't blow out an
Like,
O-ring.
fucking- Good Lord. It's good to be back. We've done this for so long. When you don't do it, it's just like, well, what am I supposed to do with all this bullshit in my head? If I have a place to
Your brother-in-law asked me last week, and we hung out here for your daughter's birthday. And your brother-in-law came up to me and he was like, "So what have you been doing?" And I was like, "What do you mean? Just living?"
Yeah.
And he was like, "Well, you haven't done the podcast in a while." And I was like, "Yeah, that's true. I have not." And he's like, "So what are you doing?" And I was like, "I don't know, just fucking enjoying myself." It was pretty funny. But yes, to your point, like it does get to a point where, especially because I've, finished a lot of stuff and I have, opinions about a lot of it. And I'm like, man, this is something I need to talk about. And it's like, I gotta fucking wait.
I gotta wait.
Yeah.
And it is a little difficult, but back. I'm gonna do the best I can. I promise. I will probably be a lot of portable games, but I feel like the kind of stars have aligned for me here a little bit because the Switch comes out next week.
Yeah.
So I'll absolutely be playing Mario Kart pretty. I guess I don't know if the word's excited. It feels like maybe the word seems like a bummer of a console launch. It's just that I don't feel like there's some level of excitement just feels a little missing, but we'll see what happens when this thing comes out. I think I'm going to actually have a lot of fun, but just not in the ways I normally like games. Mario Kart's not my jam, but my daughter is absolutely into it. So I will probably get more out of a Mario Kart than I have since like the N64 one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm definitely not excited. I mean, I'm excited, obviously because it's a long time coming for new hardware. And so that I like the future, the prospect of the future is exciting for games to run better and, those really solid Nintendo developed games to come out whenever they come out. That's all exciting, but yeah, pretty lackluster launch, I would say. I mean, I'm not particularly excited about Mario Kart, and
Mario Kart's a great launch title. It's a huge game. It's just not necessarily for us,
right?
Necessarily. If Donkey Kong, I can't. Like, my
Donkey Kong Bonanza.
My daughter's ruined me on Donkey Kong, but that comes out a month later. If that ends up being a solid title, that's not a bad 1-2 punch. It's still not your Metroids or 3D Marios or Zeldas, but that's not terrible.
No, and that game looks fucking great. Like I watched the trailer they showed off a couple of times. That thing looks really good, cool. And like I think they've got an interesting mechanic with like the level destruction and things like that. So yeah, I mean, we could be looking back at this in July and being like, it wasn't as bad as we expected. But we'll just have to see. I don't like how Nintendo is like withholding consoles from the press and the media. A lot of people in the games journalism have been complaining about it.
They're not letting them get their hands on them and tell us that some of the games aren't running as good as you would want or something.
Well, that and just like an overview of the hardware itself, right? Like no reviews really are gonna be dropping. Like there's a lot of speculation as to who is actually even getting consoles, like presumably right now, and or
to even drop a day one review.
Yeah, and to be like, this is just the way this thing ran. Like there's just a lot of questions, and like inevitably with any sort of like early adoption process for a consumer perspective, like there's gonna be things that are gonna need to be worked out, right? And we just don't know if it's gonna be a glaring thing that needs to be worked out. And so
they've just made the calculation that there's no incentive, right? Like
they just don't care.
The demand is there.
Yeah.
There's just from them, they're like, there's no positive reason why we should do this. And we don't really care about precedent. So
yeah, I don't know. Nintendo is quickly, like, they've always kind of been villainous, but they're like quickly becoming the most villainous, publisher that exists, in my opinion. They're just doing a lot of gross shit in the last little bit. So it's hard, like, couple that with all of the shit that, came out in April, and it's just really difficult to get on board. you know?
For sure.
I just remember like the excitement that you and I had when the original Switch came out, and like how we were going back and forth and speculating, and then like some mock-ups that actually proved to be like the final iteration of the hardware. We were like just very excited about it. And
Breath
we're like,
of the Wild launch day and date.
true.
That's like,
And that was
an
a wild
instant
experience.
where I was like, well, this is actually all I need.
Yeah.
Because immediately it was like, God damn, this is awesome.
Right. And so that's like, I mean, I would assume that maybe people aren't expecting to get like a lot of mileage out of Mario Kart, but from what I've seen, I'm expecting it to be a much more robust experience than maybe people have become accustomed to with previous Mario Kart games, right?
It's still just repetitive. It's still just racing, right? And like
Yeah.
in I don't think they're fundamentally changing the way that the races work, but who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, your mileage is limited just because of the genre that it is, but I would fully expect that thing to be a pretty beefy, robust game. And I'm sure that they've been working on it. I mean, the rumors that came out said that they started development on it like pretty early after the launch of Mario Kart 8 on Switch, right?
Sure.
So it's been in development for a long time. So
Yeah.
that gives you a lot of time to really fine tune an experience, and hopefully it's compelling. But yeah, I mean, it'll be nice the next time we get together to be able to talk about the hardware, kind of run down
I mean,
what we think of it, but it's hard to be excited.
I'm gonna go from playing Dreamlight Valley to playing Mario Kart.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty big win.
Yeah.
Because Dreamlight Valley is some hot trash.
Yeah. People like that thing.
It's well, like it's a playground and Disney characters in it, but
some adults really like that thing.
It's terrible. And it's optimized terrible. It's not a good game.
All right.
It's janky as fuck. Everything about it, you're just like, what the fuck is going on around here?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then like they don't have like all the songs like aren't there, and it's just like, you're Disney.
Yeah.
Like put the songs, get the stuff. Like I don't know. I have to read all this stuff to my daughter because there's no voice acting in it, and I'm just like, man, it doesn't matter because it sells 1 billion copies, so they don't have to do it. But that game's some trash.
Can you imagine if Fortnite doesn't run well out the gate? That's going to be a problem.
It's on the Switch though, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think it's a like for like architecture, right? You would think that it's not, because they're saying some games won't work on the new hardware at launch. I'm sure that they nailed that down very early on, just with the amount of little kids that play fucking Fortnite on Switch.
Sure.
But that would be a pretty hilarious kerfuffle. They were just like, it fucking sucks on the new hardware.
It really would be. We got a couple other news things. We don't normally do the news. We filter it in, but we've been gone so long, and a few things have happened. We can talk about a better publisher. The GTA delayed to next year.
Yeah, like
published
literally
by 2K. Take-Two.
Yeah, it's like a year away. Like quite literally, it comes out in May of 2026.
You think it hits it? You think May? You think that's the date? I think that's the date.
It's probably the date.
That's the date, and the online launches in the fall, or who knows, or maybe it's day and date. But I highly doubt it's day and date.
Yeah,
I bet
probably not.
I don't think there's any reason to do it day and date. I think they want people to go play the story, and then you get that whole news cycle, and then even if you could have done it, you then do online later and get a whole other news cycle. I don't think there's any way the online one is day and date, and I don't care. I mean, I will play that game.
Yeah,
I don't know what else to say about it, right? Like I kind of watched the trailers, and people like dissect them, and I'm just like, I have no interest in fucking dissecting a GTA trailer.
Yeah, like I love the one thing that really kind of got on my nerves with games media was like some outlets were talking about a console that's in the trailer, and it's very clearly like emulated to look like a PlayStation 5, but people are like, is this a leak of the PlayStation 6 in this trailer? And I'm like, really? You guys don't have anything better to do than speculate? Like, How about we look at the fucking Ford Raptor? That's very clearly a Ford Raptor. That is just like, they come up with like fake names. It's like,
Yeah.
are we going to apply that same logic? Like, is this the new body style for the Ford Raptor? It's like, come on, guys, this is fucking ridiculous.
In fucking GTA, they did it. That's
Yeah.
pretty funny. My favorite thing I've seen of the whole thing is, of course, it happened over on Twitter, but there was like a trailer, and one of the comments was like, this looks very anti-cop, and if it's anti-cop, I'm out. And it's just like, this has always been a cop killer game. It's always been about that. They're not going to suddenly show up and be like, actually, the cops are good. Like, what are we talking about?
Back to blue, dog.
It's Grand Theft Auto. Like what?
Yeah, like it's kind of been a critical part of the entire loop since the inception, even when they were like top-down garbage. You know what I mean?
The odds of them having a long satirical side story about police violence or something, which is so high. So considering when the last one came out, like there's going to be, the way these things go and how they poke fun at like everything that's happened. Like I'm looking forward to some of those things.
Yeah,
to see what they do
for sure. The best like complaints that I've seen, which is a valid complaint to be fair, but I just think it's funny, is PC players being like, I can't wait to play this in 2029, you know? And it's like, that feels bad. That feels bad for you, and you're probably not too far off, you know?
Hopefully it would be the next year.
Who knows, man? I have a great track record when it comes to that kind of stuff.
But they made a lot. I mean, I guess they just don't care. I guess they can do whatever they want, and they can just do their business model. And maybe they're like, it means it's all on purpose, because there's no reason why this isn't a global, like all console release and PC day and date. Except there's no reason for it except that they think people are going to buy it twice.
Sure. And then the bigger argument is, it's like, how likely is this game to be $100? And I think pretty likely. So yeah.
Is that where you're going to put it? You're going to say $100 retail?
I mean, if there's one game that could get away with it and it really not hurt them at all, it would be GTA. People would complain and be angry, and there might be some holdouts that are like, nope, not doing it. But I think the overwhelming majority of people are going to be like, yeah, $100 easily, because it's like, it's the amount of time that you can get out of the game in comparison to like the amount of money you're spending. And like, some people are going to play this game for a decade plus. And so like $100, if you say you're going to get a decade's worth of entertainment out of this, like that's a pretty hard thing to push away.
You know, that's one thing that could make me wrong about online launching later, is if they want to release versions that come with shit for the online version. So then day and date, it's like, well, the deluxe comes with a bunch of white beaters, and the super deluxe comes with the next Rivian that hasn't been announced yet.
Right.
So it's
they also like you know, they tried to roll out the online functionality in Red Dead at launch, and that was a fucking nightmare. You know what I mean?
It was like 2 weeks. It was because it wasn't at launch. It was within a month, because I remember, you know, our first episode of this podcast was with Red Dead, but it was before, you know, we started November 1st. It was before the year.
Right.
And that it came out.
And it was a dumpster fire. I don't think people generally like that now.
I don't think it was. It wasn't it. I don't think it ever was a thing.
Yeah,
which is kind of interesting.
There is a blueprint for massive success with GTA. It's kind of its own monster. So
yeah, I would think that they are gonna nail it. I don't know that it'll be for me. The first one wasn't. I have a hard time seeing that it'll be for me, especially on console. But who knows? Other news that's just kind of important is that if you've ever drawn something just like on your own and posted it to the internet, you need to go double check, because Bungie might have stolen your art and put it into their game, as they apparently this has happened a few times. Like all the articles I saw was like, this is the third time in the last few years that Bungie's someone's been like, oh, wait a minute, I drew that cat. Where'd you get that cat drawing? Like, have you seen the art? I'm sure you've seen the art.
Oh yeah.
It's
identical.
And they immediately, like, to their credit, they said, yeah, this is stolen. Because once you see it, it's not like a thing where it's like, I don't know. Like, no, it's just the thing.
It's just the image that they supposedly an artist on the team put on a sheet.
Do you
That
believe that it's an artist that no longer works there that left before this all came out?
no,
I don't particularly believe that
no,
statement.
because like a large swath of the fucking higher ups at Bungie followed this artist.
Yeah.
So they all knew about this artist's work. And so like you think that all of them just that all these people that follow this artist while they were reviewing, certain elements of the game, none of them saw it and was like, "Oh shit, this is like the artwork from this
Right.
person." Like it just doesn't pass the sniff test. I think that they're just covering their asses because they got caught being fucking scumbags.
How do you what's your play? How do you save it? Well, what do they have to do?
Delay it.
Delay it.
100%.
Delay it, change all the art.
Delay it, change all the art, and fundamentally change the game.
Okay.
Because
I have a different strategy.
What?
Make that person creative director of the game
Okay.
and hire them and just be like, all right, it's our art now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like they're so fucked. It was already like I was not against it. I still want to play whatever this thing ends up being. I want to try it and see. Like I don't people like shit, what's it called? The type of game it's called the
Extraction shooter.
Extraction shooter. People are kind of like down on it. Like since this, as soon as it was announced, there were a lot of people like, "Oh, I don't know," and it's like, "Well, I've liked some, so I'm not completely down on the idea of an extraction shooter." So I always wanted to kind of play it, but now I'm just like, is this thing? You've lost so much of the public. I just don't know. I don't know that this thing has a chance without some sort of major recovery effort. And how do they make good on everything across the board?
There's a lot of politics involved in this, right? So there's like for the higher ups, like the executives at Bungie, there is apparently like a very big payday in the coming months once they launch this. And
this year,
correct. And so there is like some people are saying like they might just launch this to die so that the CEOs get paid out, Pete Parsons gets paid out,
and then he's gone.
Then Sony takes over completely, and then they do whatever they're gonna do with Bungie from there. But I just don't know.
If you're Sony though, what's left?
Right.
Like if that happens, what's left to take over? What are you doing?
Well, they already gave one project, like incubation project that they had been working on for a long time. Gummy Bears is like the code name. That's already been absorbed by Sony, and they're still actively working on it. And they moved, as far as I understand, they moved team members that were working on that into like Sony as a whole. So they already absorbed that. And then you've got the marathon thing, and then like whatever they're going to try to do with Destiny, right? And so I think realistically, like I think the smart thing to do if they can stomach it is literally delay it, because I think it's dead on arrival. I don't think it'll be as grim as Conquered was at launch. Like I think it'll have legs for a couple of months.
Well, there is a Destiny faithful people that will play it no matter what.
Yeah, but
they'll at least try it no matter what.
Oh yeah, but there's a lot of people in the Destiny community. And like I'll just throw this out there, just because of my extended amount of time with Destiny last year, I have a lot of YouTubers that I followed during that period of time.
Are they pissed?
And like none of them are particularly excited about this. And I think the general sentiment within the community of Destiny is like, this doesn't really scratch any of the itches that we like from our games, right? Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think it's pie in the sky to say like you delay it, because the amount of time. So the big point of contention is there really isn't any PvE elements to the game, right? Like there is to a certain extent, because there are like AI that roam the environments and you shoot at them and that's it.
But
right?
not in the way that Destiny players are used to, where there is, I don't know if I want to say competent, but difficult, and there's a lot of enemies in Destiny.
Sure. And so it's like, if you launch the game without that, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. But the reverse of that is, that's not a small amount of time. We potentially, to like implement something that robust in the game, we're talking years of development potentially. And I just don't think that that's realistic. We don't know the budget. A lot of people are hoping that the budget is smaller than.
So they didn't need to. Well, I was gonna say they didn't need to blow the cells out of the water, but there isn't it Marathon that there's reports that
It needs.
it's a really weird number for someone to say it needs to be the top 5 video game of the year.
Yeah.
I don't know how you gain that metric. That's a weird metric. Just tell me how many you need to sell. But like,
I mean, I think you would just compare it to other titles coming out, like right the sales of those titles, and like say
sure, it's a
it's a sliding scale.
well,
Or
it's
what are you saying?
it's a stupid metric.
Sure.
Like,
I
in
mean,
order, like
no
in order for
argument
this
there.
in order for this to be successful, I need to be top 5.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what if the entire industry like tanks and your top 5 is very low?
Sure.
Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, how many dollars, how many marathon bucks do you need to make this thing work?
I don't know. It's a fucking mess, and I think that they really fucked up very clearly. I think that all the things that have been reported coming out of the studio from people in the media is like it's rotten to the core, and the leadership needs to go. Like they all need to go.
And that's been said enough times that it sure seems like that's true.
100%. People have been public about it in relation to Pete Parsons. When those layoffs came out, he seems like a shithead.
And there's plenty of articles about how morale has tanked, which like I'm sure it has. Like,
yeah, when you see your coworkers get fired.
Yeah, but when your creative director is the one that made that art, that's going to solve a lot of problems.
Yeah, I just think that it's a bad situation, and like I think that also Bungie has gotten like a lot of passes for like making games that like, yeah, sure, they're great, but like has Bungie really pushed the envelope?
Bungie has done some things very, very well.
Sure.
And there's plenty of problems with the games, but they have done, in a lot of ways, they're the only ones that have had any success doing that model.
That's true.
That type of model, releasing that kind of content on a borderline yearly basis. There's not a lot of success stories, and they aren't a very good success story, but their content's been pretty good.
That's true, but I don't know. It's like I'm not saying that like a Halo or Destiny as IPs are bad. And like at the time that Halo in particular came out, that revolutionized first-person shooters on consoles specifically, and that was a big thing.
But you're still playing a shooty.
But since then, it's all the same shit. You know what I mean? They're very good at making shooting games, like industry standard shooting mechanics. Fantastic. Destiny feels fantastic. Halo Reach is a fantastic game. But like, there's a lot of misses there, or like very cookie cutter, where it's just like, let's make the same thing over and over and over again. So
they have consistently made maybe some of the best raids / dungeons in the business. Like that's a thing. But it would be nice that, like, that's a skill, right? Yeah. That skill can apply to a lot of different games. It doesn't have to just apply to Destiny. And they definitely have that ability. They can make really cool, unlockable, like just some of the things we did where you had to do some pretty complex things just to get into these missions. And then you and I would fail for a while or for really a while. I never finished the last one we did, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for that, by the way. I just I think they're in trouble, man. I mean, I would not be shocked if, they launch this thing, like I said, maybe a couple month delay to get all of this, the pillaged fucking assets. Cause it's not just limited to like this artist's work. They've only shown like a very small piece of like an overall, there's supposedly like supposed to be 3 maps at launch.
That's the thing. The game's not out.
Yeah.
So the game's not out. And in the PR material, it came out. So are they just like, oh fuck?
Yeah. And how can you not like checks and balances internally while you're working on this shit? Again, like we're not in game development, so we don't know, but my first like knee-jerk reaction is like this kind of stuff should have been vetted many, many years ago and addressed and taken care of before you ever fucking showed off, or have a fucking alpha where all of the artwork that was stolen is used prominently.
It's too bad, and you don't know what sort of work environment these people are in. You don't know how they feel about their jobs, but I promise you, there are so many people that want to make art for the next Bungie game.
100%.
There are so many people that want to draw the art and draw that stuff for the next Bungie game. So it's just like, yeah, you're the dude. You got to do the thing, and you found someone else to do it. Like, what?
Dude, it is.
It's crazy.
It is a bad situation, and they are fucked. Like, they are royally fucked. I think that even if the game comes out and is better than what people experienced with the alpha, I think that just the bad press around it is just like has hurt the game to a degree that I don't think you can overcome.
It would have to be so good that it then pierced outside of the people that are into gaming, like that follow gaming minute to minute, and then it would be like, well, these people don't even know anything about that.
Right.
In order for that to happen, you've got to really have a winner, and I know we have no indication that that's what this is.
Very few people were talking highly about it during that test. And to make matters worse, there was another extraction shooter called Arc Raiders that
people are stoked about,
that came out for same thing, like a test, and it pretty much just like absorbed all of the fucking talk. And they were just like, I mean, this thing is just so much better than what Marathon has.
We are going into Summer Games Fest. There are rumors that thing's gonna get dated at Games Fest like soon.
Yeah.
So not like, hey, it's 6 months away. There's a lot of rumors that it's like they're gonna come out and say like 3 weeks or something. I forget what the leak was, but the leak was some people saw some dates and stuff, and it was either July or August that they were like, maybe,
or
maybe not. I don't know.
Well, didn't they do that with the finals as well? They showed it off.
It was at the Game Awards.
Yeah,
it like just launched. So
right, like people knew that it existed for a while, and then like they revealed like it's coming out today.
Yeah.
So yeah, not good, Bungie. Do better.
Yeah, everyone should just try to do a little better. We're going to try and do a little better.
Yes.
We're always trying.
I'm trying right now. I'm failing, but I'm trying.
We do occasionally talk about video games here, and we have quite a few because we haven't been here for a while.
Yep.
And one of the you were like, listen, it's not going to take that long to talk about this game.
Mm-hmm.
You played Fatal Fury, City of the Wolves.
I sure did. Yep.
Tell me about it. What is it?
Yeah. So
I don't know what it is.
Okay. It's a fighting game. It's technically a sequel of a game called Garou: Mark of the Wolves that came out very, very long time ago. A cult classic SNK title that is fantastic.
Okay.
Excuse me. One of just awesome sprite work and just a great fighting system, beloved by the FGC, and it's a really cool game. It's fantastic, right? And this thing kind of people were very excited about it because it was like, oh, it's a sequel to Garou, and that thing is so fucking good and well regarded. So people are very excited about it. And this thing, I'll say it looks very nice in my opinion, just because I'm a very big fan of Street Fighter 4. And it looks like a better version of Street Fighter 4 in the way that it the animation and like the character design is kind of like
comic similar art style.
Yeah, very similar. Just better looking, like an improved version of it. So I really like the way that the game looks, and it has characters from like the Fatal Fury series, obviously, and then also King of the Fighters, right? The roster is very small at launch.
King of Fighters is the game that has like a ton of them, right?
Lots of characters.
Iterations.
Oh, yeah.
Like King of Fighters
98, 97, 2000. Yes. They've done away with that, and now they're just like numbered entry titles. Like the last one was 15, I believe. But yeah, in the past, they would just do it like, we're updating it yearly, basically.
Interesting.
So yeah, it's a 4-button fighting game, which most SNK games are, and it's decent. I think that there's some things that are really good about it. The one thing that I think is the best about it is there's kind of like a comeback mechanic in the game, which is pretty common in fighting games, modern fighting games. It's called the SPG meter, and at the beginning of the round, you can determine when it's basically a part of your health bar. So you can slot it at the front, the middle, or the end of your health bar.
As to when it activates?
When it activates, correct. So there's a lot of strategy involved, and that gives you like a ton of different tools.
So if you had it immediately and then you took damage before using it, does it turn off?
So you can activate it at any given time, but it's like a timed thing, so it doesn't last forever. Like you don't activate and then you just have it for the rest of the round. It lasts for like a small period of time.
But I thought you were saying you were choosing, like, you either can activate it at the beginning,
Yes.
middle, or the end.
Correct. Yep.
It doesn't automatically
No.
activate.
No.
So
you have to,
could miss the can you miss the window? Like, you're supposed to be able to activate it at the beginning of the round. If you just don't activate it, you miss out on being able to
no.
activate it?
You get to activate it once,
Oh,
right?
okay, period.
Yes, yeah. So it's kind of interesting and kind of a weird mechanic that I think works, and there's like a lot of strategy around it. Like,
Mm.
but there are other things that this game does that I just don't think work particularly well, and it just feels like a half-baked effort at, like, making a quality, like, modern fighting game. And I think that's problematic because you're pulling from this like beloved game
Mm.
that people fucking love, and then you bring this thing out and it's just mid at best.
Like,
That's
a couple interesting things, but not enough.
not enough. No, definitely not. And then I think the biggest problem with it is, if anybody doesn't know, SNK was bought by the Saudi Arabian government, which is
Wonderful.
Yeah, which is a thing that they do, to kind of whitewash their reputation globally, just to like sweep under like the killing people in the public square for witchcraft and women being second class citizens and killing people that are part of the LGBTQ plus community.
The cutting up of the journalists.
Yeah, chopping journalists up. Let's just throw money at like things and sweep it under the rug essentially. They have invested a ton of money into like esports. Not just with fighting games, but like esports in general. But one of their big pushes for fighting games was to purchase SNK. So it's very strange that a government owns this company. And how that has kind of manifested itself is pretty hilarious. So one, I'm a big soccer guy, and one of their campaigns was to bring Cristiano Ronaldo to Saudi Arabia to play in their league, to give it some legitimacy, and paid him, generational wealth to do it.
And he did that.
He sure fucking did.
I can't imagine why people don't like him.
Yeah, me either, man.
Yes.
And so they were just clearly like, I think the devs in Japan were like, we just really love soccer here at SNK. And, we would think that the best fit for a fighting game character to be in this game is Cristiano Ronaldo, because he fits.
He's in the game.
He sure fucking is, Nick. He is a playable character in this game, but
are his kicks good?
He is fine. He's all right.
Okay.
He's got a soccer ball and he kicks it at you, and he looks somewhat like Cristiano Ronaldo. He does like the Sue celebration that is, Ronaldo's well known for. It's fucking gross.
Weird.
And then it gets worse. So there is I'm not joking about this, there is a DJ called Salvatore Ganacci. And I will say that he seems all right. He seems like a good dude, and he's kind of embraced this whole thing, but he's a DJ, Nick. Like, he just makes music, and supposedly
a DJ from Saudi Arabia.
No, I think he's from Italy or something like
Okay.
that. But he supposedly is Mohammed bin Salman's favorite DJ.
Great.
And so they were like, you know what we should do? We should add Salvador Ganacci as a playable character as well. And I shit you not, he shoots fucking musical notes out of his body. That is like one of his attacks. And he seems like dog shit, absolute dog shit. Every tier list that I've seen, he's terrible. I will say that maybe this is intentional, but he's done like a lot. There's been some pretty big tournaments in the last little bit.
Sure.
Evo Japan just happened a couple of weeks ago, and he showed up and did like PR and press for the game, and like he's also like engaged with content creators and things like that, and he's known for this tracksuit that he wears, like Euro tracksuit.
Sure.
And he gave tracksuits to like prominent people in the FGC, and he seems like a nice guy. But why is he in this fighting game? Why does this make any sense? And so like, it's hard for me to look at this and be like, this makes sense. Like, I scoff at like fucking Rambo being in Mortal Kombat.
That's pretty dumb.
It is very dumb, in my opinion. Or the Predator, the T-1000. It's all stupid. But this is like degrees higher of stupid, I feel like. And so, yeah, I don't know. Like, there's some people that are, diehard SNK fans that seem to enjoy this, but it has not won me over. And I just was like, I would rather play like 10 other fighting games over this thing, which kind of sucks because you really had an opportunity. Like, if you're going to take something as beloved as their first game, you got to make sure it fucking slaps. And
they got Ronaldo. What do you want?
I want it to be better. I don't want to play as Ronaldo. Like, fucking, what are we doing, dude? So yeah, it's hard for me to be like, recommend this, or for anybody that's kind of interested. Like, the first time you see Ronaldo, you're just like, oh my god.
My favorite movie's Happy Gilmore. Adam Sandler's in this game.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Basically, you're just like, well, what are we doing?
And everybody's like, are we sure this is a good idea? And Mohammed bin Salman's like, yeah, it's a good idea because they say it is. And if you don't listen to me, I'm going to execute you.
Have you seen the size of my swords?
Yeah. Have you ever heard of the embassy in Turkey? Because you don't want to go there. Bad things happen there. So that's all I really have to say about that.
Fantastic. We have quite a few other games to talk about, but we've been talking for a little while. I need to take a little break. But we'll come back. We'll talk about Clair Obscur, The 100 Line, Doom the Dark Ages, lots of stuff. All right, we are back, and I don't even want to say this on the podcast because I don't want to ruin what's happening, but we have some booze, and we were able to get it shipped to us. And that is a thing that just shouldn't happen. I don't even want to say who did it because we have found a loophole. You can't ship booze to us in Utah. That's not a thing. And it got to us. It got through.
Sure fucking did.
I've gotten some stuff, and you've gotten some stuff, and anyone we've told has gotten some stuff, and everyone's ordering while the window's open, and it's great. And the actual kicker is that it's not that the prices aren't marked up on some of these harder bottles, but they aren't marked up as high as you see some places.
Yeah.
So it's you may be paying $30 more for these hard to find bottles, but you can't get them at all. So it's a choice you can make.
And you can get them on this place we're getting them from pretty fucking easily. And they'll come like 2 days later.
So you have brought in the Old Forester 1924.
Yep.
You want to talk about it a little bit? It's a little hot, 50%.
Yeah, for sure. So this one has been a bottle that I have been searching for a long fucking time. I'm a big fan of Old Forester in general. I think like pretty much everything that they make is fantastic. This is the first. I haven't had the birthday bourbon, obviously, but I really want to. I've just been looking for it forever. You can't get it here. There was like limited allocation when it first dropped in Utah, and people waited in line and bought it all up, and that's it, right? So. Couple of things that are interesting about it. It is, as far as I understand, Old Forester's first age stated product. It's a 10-year-old bourbon. So you definitely taste some of that age on this. And
can you explain why a lot of bourbon is not age stated? Because Scotch is the opposite. Like it's Scotch is the deal is you usually can see an age, and bourbon is the deal is you usually don't see an age.
I don't know the proper answer other than like I don't think that it really matters as much to a lot of the consumers as it might for Scotch. I think that there's like
I had read something that because of the climate that it's aged in, it doesn't matter is it much, and I don't know if that's true.
So I went to the Old Forester distillery when I was in Kentucky, and they do talk about that. There is a distillery downtown Louisville. And for a long period of time, they were producing bourbon like out in Frankfurt, I'm pretty sure, or Bardstown, somewhere around there, which is like 40 minutes outside. And they did talk about the rick house that was at this new facility where they were doing tours and how They were still kind of like testing the science behind the climate inside of the rick houses, specifically like downtown Louisville. And they had some like misses early on because the temperature wasn't quite right. So it definitely affects like the maturation process of the distillate. And
Interesting.
obviously, like in the country where like the places that I just named, it's like a lot of farmland and not a lot of buildings and things like that. It's just basically like massive rick houses in the middle of a fucking field with like horses and shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it gets incredibly humid and hot in the summertime there. And so that's definitely going to make a difference. But as far as like the whiskey aging quicker at a higher temperature, it's possible. I mean, obviously, it's not going to get super hot in Scotland, but I can't imagine
it being that big of a deal
where you would be like, I've got to age it for 15 years to make it a quality product, right?
Sure.
I think that some of that comes down to like the science of it, but also I think it's just a different. We're also talking about like, in a lot of cases, a much, much older process in Scotland, where some of like the oldest distilleries are hundreds of years old, right? And so, actively operated from generation to generation,
never stopped.
never stopped. And so you're going to have just like a surplus of booze, and it's just like, might as well. Not to say that, like Old Forester has been around since the 1800s, so it's like, or the late 1800s at least. So it's like,
interesting.
It's kind of a weird thing, and I guess I don't know like precisely why there is that difference, but yes, you're absolutely right. There's only like a handful of like notable products that I can name that are age stated in the bourbon world.
I got
an 18-year-old Elijah Craig. Is that what you're going to say?
No, I got a Bullet Rye 10.
Yeah.
And I bought it. My wife likes to have old fashions with rye. So that's the only reason I got it. And it's been making good old fashions. But I thought it was funny.
Yeah. But this thing's fucking solid, man. It's good. It's really good.
It's very pleasant. It's
very sweet and nice.
It's an easy drinker. You just kind of don't even think about it. I don't know that it's necessarily the most complex thing, but it's pretty just like, this is a good time. I could drink quite a bit of this.
Yeah, it's very sweet, which like if you're a fan of sweet, like kind of candy chocolate bourbon flavors, this is for you for sure. But yeah, happy to have it in the collection. I've been looking for it for a really long time, so it's good. I also got a single barrel strength that I haven't cracked open either, so maybe I'll bring that over at some point. Awesome. Yeah.
So plenty of games have come out. The Clair Obscur Expedition 33. It had been, I think, announced the previous year, and it was kind of like the French take on Final Fantasy, I guess, a little bit turn-based. And it was immediately very interesting. And in the back of my head, through all of it, I was like, is this going to be disappointing? Because it wasn't a big studio. They didn't have a name for themselves. They were releasing it, I think, at $40, I think. I know it was less than retail price. And so in the back of my head, I was just like, I don't know if they can do it. And I have not finished this game. I have played, I believe, only 10 to 12 hours of this game. But God, it's really good. It's really, really good. It looks really good. It's a lot of fun to play in the way that a Persona is flashy through the combat, through the turn-based combat. This is like the French take on flashy combat, and I really think it works. And everything I've played with it, I was immediately hooked. The only reason I haven't played more is just the commitment to go and sit on a couch instead of downstairs with the baby. And that is the only reason, because I've been like, this thing's extremely my jam. I really like the characters. I think they're all really interesting, well done. Like the story is got enough hooks that I'm like, I would like to see where this goes. I know you've finished it, so I'm really eager to find out what you think, where this thing goes, because I'm only just past the Thestrals, Gestrals. I'm just past their thing. I'm not all that far. So what's in store for me?
Lots.
Okay.
Yeah, this thing is, I don't like to throw around masterpiece too lightly, but I think that this is probably pretty close to a masterpiece. And just in particular for a first time studio of
This is crazy.
what is described as bored ex Ubisoft employees being like, we don't want to make the same slop over and over again. Let's branch out and go
So
off on our own and
you
make
could have
something
been
that makes
making
sense.
this.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah. It's just kind of insane that a team, not a particularly large team, and what has been reported very recently from some of like the top brass at the studio is for a very small budget in comparison to some bigger games is crazy, because it's like, yeah, it looks fantastic. Like the game is gorgeous, especially if you have like a really powerful PC and a nice monitor. This thing is just beautiful to look at. The art direction in this thing is fantastic. Character, facial animations, everything is like it feels AAA in every conceivable way. And that's not just from like a fidelity perspective, but the gameplay itself is incredibly deep, and there's a lot going on here. And so just insane, like the best out of the gate performance you could possibly have.
The combat's really cool. The way they've set it up and that they keep building on it is you can always dodge and parry like attacks, like at least from what I've played. Yes, it's turn based, but there is quite a bit for you to do.
Yeah.
You don't just want to take these attacks and when you learn to parry, or at least I've started to learn, it's just like there's a lot of benefit into being able to parry because they actually counter and hit them back.
Yep.
And it really can do a lot of damage and end fights really quickly as opposed to dodging. And there's another one where you jump and then everyone attacks all at the same time. And I've only briefly been utilizing that one.
Mm-hmm.
But as I keep playing and as I see the different unlocks for all the different words they've invented for these fucking things you get to slot in, and essentially it's not job system, but like basically you equip this thing, do enough battles, and then you get to slot that in certain skills of it, even if you aren't wearing it. And that's what a JRPG needs, right? Like the type of builds where you can stand back and tinker with this stuff.
Yeah, so it's a Lumina and Picto system is what it's called. And each character can equip three primary Pictos. And after you do, I believe it's
4.
It's 4?
It's 4.
4. Okay, yeah, whatever.
It's 4 battles and then it would unlock.
Oh, 4 battles. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about 4 Pictos, and I was like, I swear it was only 3.
Oh, no.
Yeah, but yeah, so you do some battles, and then that ability unlocks for every single character, right?
Yeah.
So you can slot it on any character in your party. I think one of the strengths of this whole system is all the characters have drastically different sets of tools
They
at their
function
disposal.
differently.
They function completely different.
They all have different ways to kind of, we'll say, power themselves up in a way.
Yep.
And it's all unique, and it's a little daunting when I'm not playing it frequently enough, because I'm just like, fuck, I remember what all these fucking dudes, how they work.
Yeah, they all have their own kind of hooks and different ways that they're going to affect combat, right? So there's a lot of mixing and matching with the Luminas and Pictos. There is a massive list of abilities in this game. I mean, 100 plus by the end of it, right? And the build crafting here is insane. Like you can do so many cool things once you get a lot of these Pictos unlocked for your entire party, right? And really, really crazy things where you're just like,
aren't you working through some where they're like some you just don't need anymore though, because you just have clearly a better ones?
there are like improved, like leveled up versions. So like earlier versions will get better as you go. So
nice.
like you will be like mixing and matching as you progress with obviously like higher level of the same ability.
Sure.
But there are some that are just redundant when you've got like everything unlocked for sure. Like, god damn, dude, it is so fucking satisfying to come up with like a really cool way to approach combat. For instance, one character that I have at the end of the game never used abilities, right? It was all just basic attacks, right? Because uh, once you get further into the game, you get the ability to unlock multiple attacks at once. So like at the beginning, you'll go like hit A or X, and the character will go and hit the enemy one time.
Yeah.
By the end of the game, you get pictos that allow you to do 4 consecutive attacks.
So there's a benefit in having a attack only.
Yes,
Yeah.
and but here's the kicker. Then I put fire charge on those basic attacks. So every single time that character connects, it builds up a counter of fire damage, right?
On them.
Yes, and the character that I'm using, I won't go into spoilers because it's a character you haven't unlocked yet. But as you successfully parry and dodge, the character's attacks get stronger and stronger. So it basically incentivizes you to play perfect with this character.
Sure.
So you can get like insane amounts of fire damage counters on an enemy. Like we're talking 200, 400, 500. And when their turn goes, they just immediately die.
They just explode.
Yes, they just explode. And it is so fucking satisfying to do that. There's just so many ways to play the game.
Do you have to look up some of these things like to try to understand that you could do some of this?
The very end, I looked up at like your best builds.
Sure.
Just because I wanted to like break it completely. And oh boy, you can break it completely. The one that I just described was more organic because it just made sense. And I was just like kind of tinkering with things.
Yeah.
And learn this. But yeah, there's just so many options to how you want to approach combat. And it's fantastic. I mean, just across the board. Going back to the combat, yes, it is as fast paced as a turn-based combat system can be in a game because you're actively involved in the turn-based action. I think a lot was made, and it kind of not necessarily annoyed me, but I was just like, okay, guys, like we're kind of making a mountain out of a molehill when we're talking about this kind of style of combat and RPG. Like a lot of people were saying this is just like groundbreaking, and I wouldn't disagree completely, but like Super Mario RPG existed in the 90s. The Mario and Luigi series has been doing this exact thing for a long period of time, right? It's just
building on a ton of games that came before it.
Yeah,
what are we talking about?
People were just like talking about how revolutionary this parry dodge mechanic was, and then like actively
those people weren't born when those games came out.
Maybe actively like hitting buttons when it's your turn to go, because like a lot of times there's like button prompts on the screen after you pick an attack, and if you hit like a certain window, then you do increased damage and things like that. So it's like you're constantly involved in the turn-based action. And it's like, yeah, I mean, this is great and it's fantastic. And I think the bigger thing to talk about is just that I think it is executed better than any of those games that I just highlighted.
Sure.
And they've really taken it and ran with it. But like to say that the combat system as a whole is this like completely new thing, I think is a little disingenuous. And I just saw a lot of that, and I was just like, this is fantastic, and I love this. But goddamn, like let's not forget like how we got here. This is not a completely new thing.
The execution is flawless, or the execution 100%. Is fantastic. And
yes, it very much. I've seen a lot of people comparing it to like it's a turn-based Souls game, and I think that that's somewhat accurate. I think that there are definitely a lot of similarities. Like there are these flags that you go to, and they're basically checkpoints. Once you interact with the checkpoint, all of the enemies respawn. So very similar to a Souls game.
That's just a mechanic that mechanic no longer really means it's a Souls like that thing. That mechanic's going to filter into everything.
Yeah, but I think the bigger comparison is like to the actual combat and how crazy and challenging the game gets in terms of the parrying and the dodging. Like when you get into like the deeper elements, like end game elements, some of those fights are fucking insane with the amount of trial and error where it's like, I gotta learn. I mean, I love this game so much that like I never really got discouraged with some of the longer combat encounters, but there are some combat encounters in this game that like harder stuff take you 20-30 minutes to get through it, and if you fuck up, it's like start from the beginning and you just have to learn everything. And
some of those moves are hard, like the dodging and the parrying. It's not easy. Like
No,
the windows are not friendly. Like it
no.
is a difficult thing. And
Yeah.
then especially the multi hits, those ones. It's like one thing to figure out how to parry and dodge, and then it's like, oh yeah, he's hitting 4 times, and I need to get them all. Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
and
that's
they
hard.
intentionally make it so like a lot of the animations and movements of enemies are not very straightforward. Like there's a lot of like wind up and spinning around.
It's the dumb. It's not like lift a sword up and hit you. It's like lift a sword up and then kick you suddenly. It's like what the fuck? Like
Yeah,
how am I
yeah.
supposed to know how that works?
And you're yeah, it's just trial and error. But I because I like this loop and this experience so much, I never really got discouraged. Like I it scratched that itch where you're just like, okay, back again. Let's just keep on
Yeah.
going until I get this. Because as long as you're making some progress, where you're like, okay, I can't understand this move at all, and every single time this enemy uses this move, I just get blown up, right?
Mhm.
But I've gotten this move down, right? So now I just need to focus on this move and just like check them off of
That's
the
a Souls
list
like that
until
is.
you've got it all, right? And then you find success, right? So very satisfying from that perspective. The one criticism that I would have of the combat in particular is some of the just like more thematic cinematic elements of the game sometimes get in the way of you knowing when to dodge or parry. Like there are a couple of notable examples throughout the run of the game where there's just something that's happening that's kind of outside of combat, just a visual element that gets in the way of you being able to do it the way that you would want to do it, right?
I think there are some UI problems in the game that aren't necessarily surprising. Understanding that it's maybe a smaller team,
Mm-hmm.
that would have been nice if it was better. Like one, the menus I feel like could be better. I maybe but like I had a hard time understanding which ones I had unlocked on the Luminous
Mm-hmm.
and like be like, which ones have I done four of to know which ones I need to make sure I need to do. It's not very clear immediately. And then with the combat, and I'm interested immediately when the game started, and this changed once I played, but some of the characters when you cast a spell, even when you're on offense, you're not just sitting there. You cast a spell, and then it's like hit X twice, and it's when this meter thing gets right into the center.
Mm-hmm.
For the first hour, I couldn't see the meter. Like my eyes were not understanding, and I was
Yeah.
just like, I'm like, is this like the hardest thing ever? Like, what is going on? And then like it's like my eyes readjusted, and then I could see it, but it was something about it was not very clear. It did not jump out of the screen.
Some of the more powerful attacks that you unlock as the game progresses as well will get increasingly harder to like nail those perfect timings to like have a max damage.
I got better at memorizing the timing than seeing the bar.
Yeah, well it at the beginning it's pretty easy, but like I said, some of like your ultimate attacks that characters get, they'll do things where like it's a lot faster or in
Yeah.
quick succession where you got to really go quickly, or sometimes they'll like switch up the timing where you would expect it to go one way like clockwise and it goes counterclockwise, which throws you off.
Sure.
But I think all that works. I think more my gripe is like there very light spoilers here, but there's a boss that you fight maybe like midway through the game that's like a towering giant thing, and it shoots missiles from its body, but it has like limbs that it's just moving at all times, and the missiles come like they go up really high in the air and then they slowly come down and you have to time it. But there are times where like the boss's arms will block the missile, and you're like, this
How
is
am I
just
supposed to
adding
know that?
more to this than it should. So some criticisms there, but overall I think this is one of the best combat systems maybe ever in an RPG, and I'm not saying that lightly. I think that they fucking nailed it, dude.
It's I'm somehow, hopefully my life changes a little bit as we go through the year, because I really want to make sure I finished it by the end of the year, because I it's extremely my jam. Like this
Mhm.
game is just right up my alley, where I'm like, I love everything about it. Like
Yeah, oh yeah.
it's so good. Except we should mention, because I actually really really don't like this, that there's no good map. I in this type of game, where especially where this is at least where I've played, a lot of it is linear in that you go from point A to point B to point C
Mhm.
with a lot of offshoots in between.
Mhm.
And I despise not being able to clearly know my offshoots, because the way I play games is like I went up that hallway, this hallway, this hallway. and it's requiring me to like probably better like learn the actual level. But some of the forests, I'm just like, they're kind of the it's hard to differentiate and know exactly. Like even in those in that town of those fucking dudes, I was just like kind of lost a little bit, and then
Yeah.
trying to make sure that I didn't want to miss anything
Mhm.
because they it doesn't do a very good job. Like there are people that you need to go talk to, and there's not, and they don't do like the thing above their head. You just go talk to them, and then they're like, "Hey, I'll give you a job," and it's like, "Oh no." I get stressed. I get all
Yeah.
stressed out because I'm just like, you're just an NPC with nothing above your head. What do you mean you're giving me a job? I
Mhm.
got to go talk to and immediately I get a lot of anxiety about that type of deal. So then I spend a lot of time making sure I'm talking to everyone, but I don't know the level because I don't have a map. And it's just like
Right.
a goddamn nightmare.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I wish that I could put you at ease, but it gets worse.
Great. Perfect.
When like all of the kind of like limitations are removed towards the end of the game, or end game, you know, there's like an open world that functions very similarly to like old school RPGs where
Pretty
like
funny.
it is, yeah, it's cool. It's cool. You get a mount that
Old school RPGs like almost like Final Fantasy. You're running around in that. That's what we're
100%.
talking about.
It's like Final Fantasy VII. Like
Yeah.
the character is, you know,
looks better.
it
Obviously,
looks a
but-
lot better for sure. But like the character is very small in
Mhm.
comparison to like this world. Like the scale is off, but it works, and it's really fantastic, I think. But there is a point in the game where it's just like, okay, you pretty much done everything that the story has to offer. Now there's like one more big cataclysmic event that you can go and you know, approach, but there's also a lot of like side activities that you want to do. And you know, I did all of those things,
Yeah.
but there is no way to like know if you've been to this place or not, right? So once you get the ability to travel the entire open world, it's like, okay, have I been here before? Have I not been here before? I don't remember. So there was a lot of frustration of me just going from point to point and being like, why isn't there like a marker system here
Yeah.
where it's just like, hey, you've checked this place out, you've been here. If there is something to do here, you've done it. You don't need to go back. So that's kind of frustrating and kind of puzzling that that's not there.
That's tough. Also, is there a way to even track your side quests very well?
Yeah, there's a journal
Okay.
that shows you like all of your side quests, which is nice for sure. But there is some frustration there where it just seems like it could have been better or more fleshed out. And yeah, that in particular really annoyed me because there was just because I didn't want to miss anything because I was enjoying it so much.
Mhm.
And so it's just like, okay, well, I'm gonna go from place to place and just like I got to the point where I was like, okay, I'm gonna start at the
Basically redid it.
the
Re- went to
farthest
every
south
area.
of the map, and then one by one go to every
Mhm.
area to make sure that I did everything right.
But then how do you do that? Because the people don't tell you. Like, so you just have to talk to everyone.
Yeah, you talk to a lot of NPCs in this game as well, which
Yeah.
like that's archaic and it should be better as well. But
I just want people want the lore. They want to talk to all the NPCs. I talk to them. I just do something to make me be like, well, this one will give me a quest
mhm.
because that's tough. That is real fucking tough.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the writing is pretty good. We can talk about the story now. I think the story overall is fantastic as well. I think all of the main players in the story are interesting. There is a big story change like midway through the game.
Without knowing what that is, after playing 10 hours, that's not all that shocking because like it's a very mysterious game. Like it's about
Yeah.
what's going on. Like
Yeah.
the fact that there could be some reveals that might be controversial isn't
Oh,
that shocking.
100%. There is a very controversial kind of shift in the story midway through. And a lot of people don't like it.
Mhm.
I fell on the side of liking it more than disliking it. I
Okay.
thought that it made sense. But my only criticism of it would be that it's not as well fleshed out as it should be, right?
Mhm.
There's like I mean, it is a dramatic shift. Like your perception of what has
World
been
changing shift. Story
well,
changing
yes, the
shift,
perception
yeah.
of what has been going on up to that point is completely
Yeah.
thrown on its back, and then you're like, okay, well now I've got to think about what's going on through this lens, which is completely different.
Mhm.
But- and it makes it's compelling, I feel like, but they just don't explain it well enough. I feel like where it's like it seems like there could be more explanation of what is happening really,
Sure.
like on the back end. Like what the characters are going through is completely digestible, and like their
Yeah.
motivations is completely digestible, but there's just some of that like fringe on the fringe of the main story where it's like, well, I just want a little bit more explanation of like
Mhm.
what's going on, right? With some of this background stuff, and it's not really there. So that's kind of frustrating, but overall, I think that, dude, there is some there's just some incredibly high moments in this thing, like boss fights and
Mhm.
things like that. And the way that it's all animated and some of the music that is in this game as well to accompany some of these like really bombastic moments is
Yeah.
fucking insane. There was a couple of boss fights in this game, the in particular the midpoint of the game where like if you didn't know how long this game was going to take you to finish, you might think is like the final boss of the game. And some of the fucking ways that they implement like sound and music in this fight like had me fucking just like edge of my seat hopping up and down, like this is so badass.
So I play very few games on my TV, and this game, for some reason, I've ran the cable from my PC to the TV because I have really enjoyed the experience of having it just up on the huge screen. I'm just like, this just makes sense for some reason, and the menus I can actually read, so they're friendly.
Yeah, I played this. I got it on PlayStation, and then it got lost in the mail. Which,
Forever.
yeah, it
Okay,
never made it to me.
you're the
Which
only. Well, I guess you're the only one that's still ordering physical
which
games.
which is a huge fucking problem because Sandfall, who is the dev, came out and said, "Hey, we did not make enough of these physically."
Oh no,
And so there was like a like the I'm not
they're
joking,
gone.
they're gone, but on eBay, the deluxe edition, like the collector's edition,
Mm.
people were listing it for $9,000.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
Just fucking insane.
Jesus.
And so like I didn't know if I was going to get it. Thankfully, I ordered through Best Buy and they were like, "We'll take care of it." And it took weeks and weeks and
It
weeks.
got it. You got to be
But I
able
got a
to.
copy. Not the collector's
You're
edition,
rich.
but I got a physical edition of it. And I'm not opening it because I played it on Game Pass.
Mhm.
Um so I intended to play it on console, and now I just have a sealed copy of this game, which absolutely this is one where you want it in your fucking collection because I cannot overstate how fantastic this thing is. It's gonna be hard to top it. Like that was going back to like the talk about GTA earlier. Like there were tweets that were like, "Congratulations, Clair Obscur, you just won Game of the Year,"
Yeah.
because GTA is MIA. So um,
It's hard to see. We don't see an announced game that can top it, except the. Well, I guess uh, who's the judge? Are we saying the Game Awards are the live all because like it takes 2-1? So if we follow that logic, Mario Kart's going to beat it. But
maybe
I mean, just because of whoever the judges are.
I
But
just feel like this thing it did a very impossible thing to make like a very sweaty like in the style of a JRPG mainstream. Like there's
yep.
so much buzz and lots of like big name streamers and YouTube personalities were like ranting and raving about
Mhm.
how great this thing is. And it deserves it, man. Like it is a fantastic experience. And like I guess speaking on like the quality, overall quality of the game, like I have kind of had the itch to just rip open that physical copy and do it over again. And
Sure.
I rarely do that with games, like very rarely. So I mean, if that says anything about how much I love this thing, I think
You
that's pretty big.
I don't know. I can think of 0 times you've ever new game plus or replayed a game
Yeah.
just that I would know of. So,
Yeah,
uh,
dude, it is so fucking good. I
mm,
I seal of approval.
yeah,
Jared seal of
it,
approval.
everything I played, I was very impressed. I was like, I need to play more of it. What I did play, which this game wasn't even on my radar, it's on my radar because of you.
Mhm.
And I only have to say, I have understand my situation and that I'm doing the best I can over here. So some of the details on this I might need you to fill in as far as developers and shit. But
Yeah.
the game is the 100 line Last Defense Academy. You were like, hey, this thing came out. and it's made by the guys that did the Nonary
Yes.
games, the Nonary trilogy, right?
Yep.
Is that the name?
Correct.
And then the Danganronpa.
Two guys. So like the
Yeah,
main,
the two main guys
yeah,
like teamed up, and
and then the artist that did all the art for Danganronpa.
and I've talked about it on this show. I think I played 15 to 20 hours of the first Danganronpa. I did not finish it, which I'm really bummed about because that's a really hard one to go back to in the middle of a save. But when I finally got into it, I liked Danganronpa quite a bit. I liked what it was doing, and I love the Nonary games. I played 999 on, I think either the
The
phone.
DS.
I played the version that didn't have any puzzles. The DS had the puzzles. I think I played it on my phone.
Oh no.
No, that's the right way to play it because the puzzles suck shit.
Okay.
The puzzles will make you want to like jump out a window.
Yeah.
You'll just look them up. But I've played the first two. I did not play the third one yet, but I really like those games and like the way they function. So it was like those two guys are getting together. That's really interesting. So I was like, well, let's do it. And it's the type of game that's perfect for the Steam Deck, which is perfect for my current situation, which is holding a baby, playing it, being up at 2 a.m. or whatever, and just chipping away at it. And it's also really easy to put the game down. The game is, I think it's a little bit of a burn, a little bit of a slow burn, and some people are immediately gonna be turned off. Like, this is a Japanese game. This has a lot of the quirks that some people might not like.
Tropes for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, from different characters. From there's a brother and sister doing their brother and sister thing. It actually gets a little better.
And by brother and sister thing, they want to fuck each other, is what you're saying.
She doesn't.
Or the brother wants to fuck her. Yeah.
It's mainly just the brother. There's some story that it's gotten a little better, but it's just like, Jesus Christ, you fucking people, why do you always have to do this? But there's a very basically the way this thing functions is that a bunch of people, a bunch of kids, a bunch of high school kids, something like that, live in the Tokyo residential complex or something. They don't have any sky. They're in like this enclosed thing, and you don't really know what's going on. But shit goes down. Random weird mascot shows up, like you would expect to see from a Danganronpa or a Persona game, and they stab themselves in the chest. They get some powers. They end up at the Last Defense Academy, which is this school. They all wake up. They don't really know what's going on, and they're basically told, "Hey, every few days we get attacked, and you got to defend the school, and you've got to be here 100 days." And I am like the mascot dude, and I'm going to wake you up every morning. And I really like the morning wake up thing. It's something about, I've heard it so many times. It's just like up and at 'em, and something about it I'm into. But basically how this works is the combat. Yeah, there's a pretty good combat system, like better than what we've seen in like 13 Sentinels. Is a pretty good example of a game that has a lot of story, a lot of like composition, and then some combat. Whereas the 13 Sentinels combat was like, I don't know. This one actually is pretty fun.
Yeah.
I haven't found it difficult yet. I've never failed any missions or anything like that. But there's quite a bit of depth there, and they keep unlocking a lot of ways to have some fun. It's on a grid system, so you have every character has their own abilities. Basically, they attack and then they're fatigued and they can't do as much. And there's different options to bring them back, and you have so many turns each round. And there's a lot of strategy here. There's a lot of ways to upgrade. There's a lot of ways to kind of cater how you want to play between throwing down different types of fences and bombs that you get and upgrading those, or upgrading their abilities instead. It's pretty cool. And it keeps showing itself to you. Like, it keeps adding characters to the group, and they're all extraordinarily unique. I don't know if a game has ever had more. I don't know, I think there's 15 different characters or something right now. It's like, they are all fucking weird. Like, they're all weird as shit. Maybe the weirdest characters that these types of games I've ever experienced, but they do grow on you. It took me a while, because when I first started, I was just like, I don't know if I fucking like any of you guys. And then after I'm almost 30 hours in, I'm on day 70. I was trying to get to 100, but I'm not gonna, obviously I didn't make it. But it's I'm into it. I like the story. I like kind of everything about it. Something about it. I'm just like, this thing's pretty good. This thing there's a lot here. There's a lot going on. And the reason I wanted to get further is like those 999 Nonary games, they had a lot of split paths, a lot of different endings that you had to go through to 100% the game. None of that has revealed itself here. And I know that there's like 100 endings in this game. And I don't understand how that works because so far I've essentially been playing a linear game through day 70. So I don't know. And I wanted to be able to come here and say, wow, it gets crazy. But that'll, I guess, be the next show as I keep playing because it has not happened yet. And somewhere there's going to be something. And there's a character that breaks the fourth wall fucking nonstop. And she even says, like, there's a character that we were going to kill. And she was just like, if we were a game, this is where you would make a choice. And you don't make a choice. And you're just like, what? When's it going to happen? We got to make some choices sometime. But where are you? I mean, how do you feel about it so far?
Yeah, I really like it. I'm earlier than you, just like focused on other games at the minute, but I'm at like day 25 to 30. I can't quite remember. So fairly early on. And my take on it is pretty much exactly yours. I feel like to kind of go back to like the slow burn element to the story, it is a slow burn, but there is, at least in the early amounts of time that I have played, there's always like some sort of mystery that they're trying to figure out, right? So it kind of hooks you in from that perspective where it's like a character will go missing and you're like, what the fuck happened to him? And everybody like in the school is kind of talking amongst themselves about, we were supposed to get this like grand reveal of like what's going to happen to us and why we're here and like all these things. And then like every single time,
body parts.
Yeah. And then every single time somebody's like, I'm going to tell you tomorrow, you go to sleep and this fucking ghost thing shows up. And then the character that told you they were going to explain something just dies. And you find quite literally in the case of the mascot, you find his body chopped up into pieces in a trash can.
That keeps happening like throughout the game. And there's still like, there's not that much has been revealed, honestly. I'm still waiting for a lot of shit.
But my general take on like the overall loop and things like that, I think that they're pulling on like a lot of great games, a lot of great series. There's a little bit of Persona in here with there's a day-night cycle in the game each day, unless there's like a serious story beat for a given day, you're kind of free to do what you want to do to a certain extent, not to the same degree of like a Persona game where there's just like a ton of different options, at least where I'm at. It's more contained, which I actually kind of enjoy, where it's like, I don't have to, at least early on, I don't have to make this like impossible decision between like 18 different fucking activities.
I hope you don't have to stress about it because I'm not. Yeah. I'm just like, there's just not very many things to do here. So if there's a way to min-max it, I hope that it doesn't matter because I've just been kind of randomly bouncing around and it seemed fine.
Yeah, that's good. That's good to hear. I was concerned about that as well. I was like, should I be like, am I going to be hurting myself by doing what I want to do? And I think that that's like a bigger argument or a conversation to have about how Persona 6 needs to kind of evolve and make it more flexible to have your experience and it be like very satisfying without feeling like you're missing out on stuff, right? Sure. Which is a hard thing to do, but so it's got that element there. And then obviously you've got the visual novel element that Danganronpa and the Nonary games is known for, which is good. And then there is a lot of reading. It's a lot of text, a lot of reading, but the story so far has been interesting enough for me to like still want to see what's next. And then the combat system, it reminds me of Fire Emblem, which is not a bad thing at all. Yeah. And I think that they definitely pull on Fire Emblem because it's very tongue in cheek the way that it works. Because like in Fire Emblem, like obviously in more recent Fire Emblem titles, like you can turn permadeath on and off. But in like older games, like that was not a choice. And if you lost a character that you really liked in a battle, they were gone forever. But in this, like
it's a bloodbath.
They intentionally like it's kind of like to your benefit hilarious. Sometimes for characters to die in the combat encounters because your characters are still living, get fucking tangible buffs, which is and it's also animated
like a huge buff.
Yeah. So it's like, and there's no penalty because early on in the game, like a character dies, and this fucking the best way to describe it is like a drone coffin. It's like got propellers like a
It's really
drone.
funny.
It just flies out on the battlefield
Fixing
and
your
sucks
body.
up the dead body into a coffin and then flies back into the school. And everybody is like, oh my God, she fucking died. And she, like, I will say that
She dies.
it's graphic. Like some of the like death scenes and things like that, they don't pull punches. Like it's pretty gruesome, like with the way that they die. It's kind of a violent game for sure. And this, so they suck up this chick's body, and then once the battle's over, you're all like in the cafeteria, I think, like talking about the battle, and the chick just shows up, and she's like, "Hey," and everybody's like, "Why are you here?"
I was so happy because she's one of the ones that I was just like, I fucking hate her, and now she's like one of my favorite characters, but she's so fucking, she's just batshit weird.
Like, I don't like her
mentally,
at all right now.
Mentally unstable. Like that character's just like, because it's and the game like pokes fun at it as well. They'll just be having conversations, and she's like, should we murder Dave? And then like your character's like, why are you the way you are?
Yeah,
basically, just like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, I honestly want Fire Emblem games to emulate this, right? Like tone down some of the visual novel elements, but like the last two Fire Emblem games just did not do it. Like the most recent one is better than Three Houses, whatever.
It was Three Houses.
Whatever. We always that's kind of like a tongue-in-cheek joke if you've been listening to Two Fucking Horses. I absolutely hated that game, and I'm a huge fan of Fire Emblem. There's just too much meat on the bone, and all of it didn't matter, and was just stupid and just annoying. And in the last Fire Emblem game, there was less of it, and it was more streamlined, but it was still a little too much for me.
And neither of us finished it.
No, and it's just like you're taking away from like what makes these games good, which is the tactical combat is fantastic, and also like min-maxing characters and like really digging deep into that. And then you get fucking just all this superfluous nonsense that drags those experiences down.
Fire Emblem was at its best when you were breeding.
True.
Right? When your kids from the future were coming back and you were just like, why fuck Janet? And now Jim's here. So welcome to the party, Jim. It's and then, like super weird.
Yeah, for sure. But with this thing, I've just been like, man, I really wish that the next Fire Emblem kind of emulated this, where it's like you still have choices. You feel like you're making decisions that are going to impact, you know, your gameplay experience the way you want it to impact it, without like having to figure out if Lila likes daffodils or daisies. And like that just, I don't know, to a certain person that might appeal to them, but for me that just it pulls me away from the experience. So
the gift system is in this game. It's very easy just to look it up, and I just look it up. I don't fuck with that shit. I'm not gonna like try to figure out who wants the glasses. I'm gonna look up who wants the glasses and give them the gift.
You can speak on it better than I, but like it just hasn't felt as in your face with like,
no, it doesn't.
Stupid shit.
It's all fast.
Yeah,
it's all extremely fast. Like even like it's not a social link, but you will talk to a character and it has a benefit to spend time with that character. It's like 6 lines of dialogue. Like
raises your grades, which is important.
It moves pretty quick, and then you can raise your grades, which. It's like, we're not fucking at school. What are we doing here again?
Even though they're in a school, but I was going to say that. I have not went to one class. I think that's kind of like the point though.
The whole deal's funny. There is a character in the game called Shuma, and he is this very young boy who just has no confidence he has no confidence. And the arc, we all know the arc, right? Is that like this dude doesn't have confidence. And then he has a turn, and then he gets confidence, and then it changes. And I can tell you that he has a turn. He becomes dope on the battlefield. But then it's always just like you go and you're just like, hey, in the school, you're like, what are you up to? And it's like, why would you want to talk to a shit stain like me? And you're just like so many times I want to take a picture of what he says to post it to the Discord. Cause I'm just like, who's writing? It's not like 6 lines of this, just like punching, like pushing yourself down. there's just hundreds of lines where he's just like, I would help, but I would just fuck it up because I'm a goddamn loser. Like fucking Shima.
Yeah.
Like you end up in a mech, my man. Like what are you doing? Like
that is one thing that I think is really interesting too. Like early on in the game, there's kind of like basically every so often there are these monsters that attack the school, right? And the mascot character is like, this is your job, this is why you're here, to protect the school. And like basically tells the characters, like, if you don't do this, then like people that you care about are going to die, so this is what you got to do. And early on there are some characters that are like, we're not going to fucking fight, we're not going to do this. And then there's like another group of characters that are like, yeah, we're absolutely going to do this.
Yeah.
But I've liked kind of like the sprinkling of new characters in as the story progresses, because characters will like kind of come around and be like, yeah, I'm going to finally fight because there are like legitimate reasons why I need to fight. And you as the like the protagonist kind of coax them into fighting through some weird things. Like early on, it's just food because they get starved, which is pretty grim. And you're just like, I brought you a sandwich, and they're like, oh fuck yeah, and then they end up fighting.
I'll stab a bitch.
Yeah,
like,
but it's like, it's very funny the way that it works. Like you said, like Shuma shows up in a mech. I haven't got to that point quite yet, I don't think.
You would know.
Yeah, definitely. Shuma has not. He has not done anything like that. But like the last character I got, or the last two characters I got, one of them is like a mechanic, and she just shows up in this badass van. And she's like,
they're all very unique, and it keeps going. I want to spoil some character, not specifics, but it's not very far ahead. I don't think it's a huge spoiler. I just want to spoil it for one reason. You get an influx of like 4 more characters all at the same time, because so you are currently at the last defense academy. And it's because through the story beats, you find, and this game's pretty funny, you find the second to last defense academy and they come to you, and it's very funny. And so like, and they are a bunch of fucking killers, and they've got some good skills, and it's really cool. So like, yeah, they keep doing it. Like the game keeps sprinkling characters. I am close, but I'm not convinced that some characters that have gone away aren't coming back, because there's like, I can like go through, they call it the report card, and I can see like all these things they like. And then like when I'm like Googling the gifts and stuff, I'm like, I think that character's coming back, but they've been so dead for a while.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I've seen people that have finished this that are like, people are sleeping on this fucking game, and it is in contention for game of the year. Like, it is that good.
I don't disagree. I absolutely love it. There's no way I'm going to stop now that like, I mean, we've got Mario Kart, but I can't stop playing this game. It's really good. And I have to find out what the ending deal is. I don't understand where it's going to where there's 100 different endings. The creator, or one of the creators, came out and said, you can just get your ending and be done. But I don't think anyone's doing that. And people are playing it for 100 hours.
Yeah.
Like so I don't know if there's going to be a mechanic where I get to go back and change things that happen. I could see that happening.
Yeah, I definitely want to play more of it. And I think we're kind of in a good spot now that have got some of like the bigger releases that have come out in the last little bit. Although we've got the Switch coming out next week, and I'm currently dealing with another obsession that we'll talk about next week. But yeah, I think everything that I've seen, it's just great, and I would like to definitely chip away at it and finish it before the end of the year for sure.
I'm into it. I'm getting some struggles from my daughter, who comes up to me. She loved Blueprints, and she's like, "Why don't you go play that puzzle game?" And it's like, one, you can't fucking read, so you don't even help in the puzzle game. I didn't put this on the thing, but I got to credits on that game, and then that game goes too far. Okay. And that game gets too messy to at least for me to go any further. It got to a point where I'm like, well, now you're in a territory where I can't organically do any of this shit. And I enjoyed what I played of that game, and I can't do it anymore.
That's fair. Yeah, I haven't finished it. I still like what I played, which is surprising because it's like,
did you get to credits or no?
No, I haven't got to the credits.
Yeah, it's everything I've read after that. What the puzzles become is, I am confident that you would not be on board.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, I don't know if there's some. I mean, I still really like that game and I think it's great. So I mean,
I'm high on it. I think it's great, and I'm actually fine just saying I played enough. And I think it's great that other people can have it. Just keeps elevating, right? It just keeps getting harder and harder. I think the people complain that the roguelite elements end up being a problem because as you get further, you run out of things that you need to accomplish, and then you're like really trying to thread a needle.
Yeah,
which is understandable, but Microsoft over here just trying to have the best Game Pass year of all time, maybe. Doom: The Dark Ages.
Yeah.
This is the third game in, I guess, this format. 2016? Is that the right one for the first year? I don't know when Eternal came out. I didn't play Eternal. I've never been huge on these games. I liked the 2016 one when I finally played through the whole thing. But as soon as you played Eternal, and I think you complained about the Marauder.
Yeah.
Is that the right word? And I was like, okay, I'll never touch it. And now they've, this is, I guess, a prequel to those ones.
Yeah, it's a prequel to all of them.
Doom?
Yeah, this is the first. This is like supposed to be like the origin story.
Yeah. Okay.
Which none of that fucking matters. Like, it's Doom, man. Like,
I liked the narrative in Doom 2016. The dude with the I don't remember the guy's name, but the main dude would come and talk to you on the thing.
Yeah.
And then he had like a deep voice. You're like, oh, this is cool. And then you would just break your radio and throw it out of the glass. Like, that was all good shit.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they I mean, it has done great work. I mean, even with Eternal, like there is a lot of fun to be had with Eternal. But I think that it kind of gets all muddled down with a couple of enemy types that are just way more annoying than anything else in the game. I was thinking while I was playing through the Dark Ages, I was like, man, I wish I could fight Marauders in this game, because with the tool set that you have, I would just kick the shit out of them. But
you're Captain America.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty fucking much, man. Like this thing, I give them a lot of credit, because they take, you know, the formula that they developed with Doom 2016, which I am a huge fan of Doom 2016 in particular.
It's a fun loop. I mean, they had something there. Like, it's an incredible loop.
It's a really good game, and there's a high level of replayability in that game. You know, as you should expect from like a foregone era of gaming where there just wasn't like a lot of bells and whistles. So the thing that you did was you beat it, and then you just go to the higher difficulty, and you just keep on moving your way up until you're a god at Doom, right? And in 2016 emulated that. And yeah, so the Dark Ages, like I said, it's like supposed to be the beginning. So it's kind of convoluted and muddled, because, you know, all of this is very much influenced by like medieval aesthetic, and like a lot of the weapons are still futuristic, but also kind of like more archaic looking than they would be in like you know, Doom 2016 or Eternal. But then also you like you're in like a castle that's being sieged at the beginning of the game, like old school shit like that, and then there's like spaceships in the skies, like fighting each other. And so my personal preference would have been like do away with like more of the futuristic elements and really stay more grounded into this like high fantasy, like Dark Ages aesthetic.
Like, don't bring any of that other shit.
Yeah, don't bring any of that other shit in, because like you can play on, I mean, obviously like the study of demonology and paganism and things like that have been around for literally hundreds, if not thousands of years of human, you know, existence. So like, you don't really need any of that shit, and you just like go with that, in my personal opinion. But that's not what they did. So it's kind of like a mix of like sci-fi and high fantasy, which is fine. It's fine. But yes, so the big thing here, and again, I give them a lot of credit. It's like, this game plays drastically different than the last two.
What I'd seen and what I'd like heard on other podcasts is with that shield, it changes the whole dynamic of what you're doing.
Well, it's not even just the shield. I mean, the shield is a huge element for sure, but the kind of loop of the last two games was like, go as fast as you can, go as fast as you fucking can, and like do all these crazy like acrobatic moves in the air. You got a double jump in both of the games, so that allows you. And then there's jump pads everywhere where you're just fucking flying around the map, and that's the goal.
High fantasy is Super. Oh no, those are the previous ones. There's
Yeah.
no jump pads in this
No,
one.
there are jump pads in
Okay.
this, but
It's known.
but like the Doomslayer in this is like he's kind of lumbering. Like his walk speed is fine, so you never get annoyed with like how slow he is.
Mm,
But there's no double jump, so he's got a single jump. But he's way more weighty, and his impact is like it's so great that if you do jump off of like a high point and there's demons below you,
fuck him up.
he'll land on the ground and just he makes like a tremor that just kills everything that's like around him, right? So intentionally making the character much weightier. And the loop here is not go as fast as you fucking can. It's like parry and do all this crazy shit to these demons. That really the best comparison that I made while I was playing is it's like Returnal in a lot of ways, where they kind of implement like bullet hell elements into the game, where the enemies just shoot out projectiles at you in like waves, and you kind of have to navigate around them, and they're color coded. So red projectiles you can block, but you have like a meter on your shield that if you deplete, then you can't block anymore. You take damage, right?
Sure.
But the green projectiles are parryable, right? And if you parry them, then there are all sorts of modifiers as you get deeper into the game, and things that will happen when you parry. But at its baseline, it's going to stun an enemy and then give you an opportunity to go in and do like a melee attack or something like that. There are 3 different melee weapons in the game that you unlock as you go. And the at the beginning you just have like these gauntlets with like these giant spiky fists.
Nice.
And then you get a flail. And then at the end, you get this like gnarly ass mace, right? And they all do different things in terms of like the melee combat in this game. And they're all on like like you have uses of them, and they're all on a cooldown after you use those uses of that. And then
the mace is so tired.
It's
has to rest.
Oh, dude, yeah. I mean, and there are ways to like refill it very quickly as well. There are like icons where you could like pick up on the ground, but it's in a way, a much slower paced experience, but it's also still very fast paced, right? But it's really cool what they've done with it in terms of just kind of like flipping it. And like this whole experience would have been like pretty tired, in my opinion, if they wouldn't have done this like really drastic shift in the gameplay.
Sure.
So they're finding ways to like increase the mileage on this thing, while still maintaining like elements that made those last 2 games great with this new loop. And I think the new
still
loop
in the
works.
spirit of the 2016.
100%. It works really well. My only criticism, well, I have a few criticisms, but in regards to like the parry and the...
You're not done, right?
No, I finished it.
Oh, you're done?
Yeah. There's 22 levels in the game. So it's a lengthy campaign. That's all there is, though. So enjoy, which I think like you can go one of 2 ways. Like the secondary, like the multiplayer component in the last 2 games was, mid at best. So it wasn't like super compelling. The snap map functionality that kind of like emulated like Halo's Forge, where you could build your own maps and things like that. That was pretty cool in 2016. And I think people that are really into those kind of modes in games got a lot of enjoyment out of that. But there's nothing like that here.
But what a world.
What?
What a world that in 2025 a new Doom comes out. And generally people are like, hey, it's pretty good. And then they're also like, there's no multiplayer. Just historically. Like it's fucking Doom.
Yeah. No, I'm not. I'm definitely not criticizing it. I think it's the right decision. I'm just saying.
I'm saying it's just crazy that the Doom doesn't like with the history of Doom.
Sure.
That a good Doom in 2025 doesn't have multiplayer.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, yeah, it's good. There's no multiplayer. And it's just like, you understand what Doom is?
Yeah.
You understand? Do you understand where it started? Like what? I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's very interesting, but again, it's a 22 level campaign. So there's a lot to sink your teeth into here. Lots of secrets, and some of the things that they've kind of evolved over the last 2 games is like massive like pseudo open world levels. So a lot of the levels, there are some more linear levels, but a lot of the levels in the game will basically slot you into the map, and then it's just like you have multiple objectives that you have to complete. You can complete them in any order that you want to, but there's like this big open area that you can explore. And they've always done a good job, like since the inception of this series, of like chalking the levels full of secrets and fun things to find. And that's no different here.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
In 2016, because I enjoyed that stuff. It's like, hey, I'm 95%. I
Yeah.
know I got a thing. I can kind of see where it is on the map, but I got to figure out how to like
Mhm.
get into that little crawl space.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that shit.
It's 2016 and Eternal are far more linear than this, you know, like
They were like,
yeah,
extremely.
there's a lot more freedom to just kind of go where you want to in the individual levels, which is cool. So I really enjoyed that about it. And yeah, dude, like I think early on I really had it took me a bit for the combat to click with me.
Okay.
Like the first probably 2 or 3 hours, I was like, I just don't know if this is the right decision for them to make, because I wanted that fast paced experience.
Yep.
And it's just completely different. So for the first little bit, I was just like, I don't know if this is the right call. But then as they start layering,
I was gonna say, do you unlock more skills? Or
Yeah.
do you just get better? Yeah.
both, you know, the parry timings and things like that are super easy. Like that's a bigger criticism that I have, is like I started out on Hurt Me Plenty, which I think is like normal basically. And then I cranked it up because I was just cruising through. And I also, you know, on some of the harder difficulties was like doing pretty well. The hardest difficulty though is fucking insane and very, very
tested it?
challenging. Yeah, no,
Okay.
no, it's like a little like too try hard for my taste, but it's pretty easy.
Does his face get more damaged as you
Yeah.
go up? That's fucking legacy shit.
Yeah, for sure. Like he does like the eyebrow moves and like looks around and then like as he gets damaged, he gets like blood coming out of his nose and stuff like that.
It's good shit.
It is good shit. But yeah, it is fairly easy, and it's compounded upon because there's these like save your life tokens that are in the environment. So you can have 3 at any given time, and they're finite. There's usually like 2 or 3 in a map that you can find, and they're usually secrets.
Okay.
But if you're stocked up at 3 and you get into a combat encounter and you die, there will be a menu that'll come up and it'll be like, do you want to resurrect? And it's like, yes. And then you get half health and you're back
at it.
Yeah. And there's 3 of them, right?
Yeah.
So I think that like 1 probably would have been better, because I literally don't think I ever died. Like I properly died. Like I
Just play on
died.
the max.
Yeah. It's really hard. But that might be where you would want to play this if you really want some sort of challenge, because I just don't think it's there on the lower difficulties. I thought that it was pretty easy, but they do some really cool stuff with the weapon types in this game. There's a lot of weapons, and they really lean into some of this like medieval aesthetic. Some of the notable ones that I think are really great is there's just this like it's basically, it's not a shotgun because it functions more of like an automatic weapon, but it's animated so brilliantly because they showed it a lot in like the pre-release footage, but it's just a gun, and then there's just a skull, like a human skull in this like chamber in the middle of the gun, and then there's a grinder on the bottom of it, and as you shoot, the skulls go into the grinder and they're grinded up, and the fragments of the bone are the projectiles.
That's some good shit.
It's very good.
It's not the shotgun though.
It's not. The shotgun's in.
You have to have a good shotgun in Doom. That's important.
Yeah, so you've got the basic shotgun, which is fantastic, and as you upgrade it, it becomes even more fantastic because you can shoot like 4 or 5 shots in one click of the mouse.
Wonderful. It's like a shotgun does.
Yeah, and then you have the super shotgun, which is like the 2-barrel, like super powerful shotgun. Each weapon in the game has 2 variations, so you unlock like the base of it, and then as you progress, you get like in like I said, in the case of the shotgun, you've got like the basic shotgun, then you get the super shotgun.
2 variations, or is upgrade a better word? Like it ends up just being upgraded?
No, you have 2.
You can always switch between the 2.
Yes. You just hit F on the keyboard and you'll switch between the 2.
There's reasons to do that.
100%. Yeah. Like depending on what kind of enemy type you're fighting.
Okay.
What?
Do we have enough time to talk about the story? How long is it going to take?
No, not long. I mean, there's not much to really talk about.
We do an extra long show if you need.
Yeah,
if
let's
you really need to just dive in. Like, I want the lore. I want to know what's
I'm not doing that.
What do we? How deep does it go?
I mean, that's been one of the criticisms is like the story is there's too many cutscenes in this.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't think that. I think that's overblown. I kind of felt like it was like an Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire review where it's like there's too much water, like which is just fucking stupid. One of the worst takes ever. But yeah, no, I mean, I felt pretty similarly to this where it's like, yeah, there's cutscenes that are like fleshing out the story. That's here. The story is nothing. That it's just a power fantasy of this fucking crazy, Doom Slayer doing Doom shit. And so it's fine from that perspective. So that's not why you're playing Doom.
It's why I want to play Doom. But
well, then you need to go back and play Doom 3 because I tried that and it didn't work out for me.
Do you know what happened to my Doom 3 situation? I'm so mad about it. I had Doom 3. I played it on my Dell PC. And I had the box, like when PC Games came in a big fancy box, and I sold it on eBay for a very good price, only like $20 or $15 less than retail. So I was stoked. And I was in college at the time. I sent it to him, and the dude said the CD doesn't work. And I said, "Are you gonna send it back?" And he said, "No." And I refunded him the money, and that dude stole from me, and I'm still mad about it.
Yeah,
still mad about the whole situation because that fucker. That CD worked. That dude just stole Doom from me. And I didn't know what to do because I was just like, I don't know, like, enjoy Doom.
Well, thankfully that game was not very good. At the time, it looked great. Like, I will say that. For sure. I played it on Xbox, and I was like, this thing's sweet. But that game did not do what Doom needed to do.
I got banned from an IGN forum about Doom 3.
Okay. You got a lot of stories about Doom 3.
It's weird. I know. It's weird. I went in there because I was not a Doom guy, and people were very excited about it. They were talking about the game wasn't out yet.
Yeah.
And I made a post and I said, why? I'm like, from my understanding, the story's always been shit in Doom. Why are you guys? Why is everyone so excited about this? And why do we think it's going to be good? And they said, "Get the fuck out of here!"
Wow,
it's like,
how welcoming!
Like, what do you think you are? And I was like,
"Who the fuck are you asking questions?"
I was like, I think it's bad. I think Doom's always had a bad story. I don't know, guys. Like,
yeah.
Anyway, so I think that's all the Doom stories I have.
Okay. I'm trying to think of anything else to really talk about with the Dark Ages. I think the enemy types here are fantastic. They work well with the combat as it is. Yeah, there's nothing that's like super annoying. There's a couple that are like, you're kind of fucking annoying, but nothing at the level of like game breaking that I felt like the Marauder was.
You guys liked I mean, when you and Mids were talking about it, you guys were high on that game, and then it just came to a screeching halt.
Yeah.
When you're like, oh yeah, everything changed. This game sucks shit.
Yeah, for sure. It was a problem. But I think like in the hierarchy of the last 3 games, I think it goes 2016 still, just because I was so fresh and new. And then this. I really like this game. I think it's really good. And I think they do a lot of cool things. Oh, one thing that I don't like particularly, there are like kind of they mix up the gameplay where you get this like cyber dragon that you fly around on, and it's metal as fuck. Like, this whole game is metal as fuck.
I heard the dragon looks dope.
He does look dope. He's very cool. You have like this little harness that you ride on the back, and there's just like a Gatling gun on the harness, and it just flies around. And like some of those sequences are cool where you're like flying around the environment, and like again, it's like more open world environments where it's like fly around the dragon and do what you want. You can land places, and then you get off the dragon and you go do Doom stuff. Then you get back on the dragon and fly around this open world environment. It's kind of cool.
Should that be in the game? Like, why is that?
I think that it works for the most part, except there are like there's a lot of these like where you got to go and fight these like ships to like drop them into the ground. And it's the same thing over and over again where there's like this mode where it's like almost like bullet time where you get everything slows down and the ships will shoot projectiles at you. And you have to dodge them if it's a green projectile. And then that's the only way you can do damage to these ships. And they do it over and over and over again. And you're just like, this is this is not good. Like does not feel great. It just feels so tacked on. And
someone designed it and then they just tacked it on 8 times or something.
And then there's a mech that you get as well.
Yeah.
And
you love mechs.
I do love mechs. And the mech is badass. Like it looks very cool. It's called an Atlan mech. And some of like the perspective shifts with it because you're in this like, I don't know hundreds of feet tall mech. So like all of these like demonic structures in hell are very tiny and you're just like running through a whole building with your foot and just destroying it, which is cool. And then you fight these giant demons that
the demon masons are like, my work.
Yeah,
exactly. Oh no.
We shouldn't have went with stucco for this one.
I'm just like, there's got to be demon construction workers, right? Like it's gotta exist. Like,
sure, yeah. No. And like, so you're just like tearing through, and that's very satisfying. And then you fight these giant demons that are the same size as the mech, and it works very similarly where like they throw a punch at you, it's very slow, and you gotta dodge to the left or the right or back. And if you dodge it right, you have like this gauge in the middle of your screen that gives you like different abilities, and you just like beat the shit out of them. And like there's maybe like 4 or 5 levels in like the whole run of the game that are either dragon or mech levels, and they don't work. They're not it.
It was an experiment, and hopefully they're like, nope.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Yeah, the future's bright. I think like especially like you just got to keep on doing this shit. Like,
is it?
Yeah, I think so. Absolutely, because I think it has proven that they can take a tried and true formula and iterate on that formula and still make it feel fresh and new.
So you think a 4th one with the same overall idea with tweaks?
Well, yes,
you're
because
on board if they can innovate enough.
Well, yes, because this is so drastic. Like you got to really experience it.
Sure.
Like it feels so drastically different than the last 2 games, right? Like it's really different. It's really different. So I think like you'd have to come up with a great idea, but I think that it has done a pretty good job of doing that. And so I do think that the future is bright as long as they don't rest on their laurels and they continue to iterate. And it's just like, okay, we had a lot of success with this. Let's go back to the drawing board, take a couple of years, figure out another cool way to kind of liven up and change this core loop, right?
Interesting. Okay.
So pretty high on this thing. It's pretty good.
Huh, cool. Oh, we did it. We got through the games. I don't think we have any other ones you want to talk about.
Nope.
I think that's all of it. It's a pretty long show. It's good to be back. It's good to be back and talking. We've been doing this so long that you go a couple weeks without doing it, and you're just like, there's something missing in my life. Like I just need to come here and just do my bullshit. So it's very nice to be back. We will keep going at it. That was Gamescast 153. If you want to follow us, you should probably join the Discord. In the show notes, there'll be a handy link. If you're watching on YouTube, you can go over to our profile page, and there'll be a link there as well. That's going to do it. Take it easy, guys.